People often wonder how therapy with children is different from therapy with adults. Let's start with therapy with one adult. Anyone who graduates from a degree in psychology is usually trained to work with an adult. Working with one adult is the simplest form of therapy. It's not easy, it's simple. Why? Because one person decides that they have a problem and that they need help. They choose their therapists, they pay for their own session, they bring their own story, and they can decide to end therapy whenever they wish to. People come to therapy with a story, and therapy is often about unraveling one's stories. For example, one adult comes with the story that I don't have a good relationship with my wife or my husband. We start working with this story. The story can then develop over time. For example, the story can change to we haven't had sex in over a decade, or that I have been having affairs for over a decade. So these are now different stories. Whatever the story is, we work with the adult to tell their story and unravel layers after layers of their story. And from there, to define their problem, reframe it, and find ways to solving their problem. Therapy with more than one adult is more complicated. Now imagine if a couple comes to therapy. They often bring two different stories. They can have different goals, even opposing goals. So having two people in therapy makes it more complicated to get a coherent story. The picture is even more blurry when working with children. It's not that the child wakes up one day and says to their parents, "Well, I've had enough of this. I would like you to find me some help." It doesn't go like this. Usually it's the parent who decides that we have a problem and we need help, or you have a problem and you need help. So the person who is seeking help is not the child. We might also have other parties involved, such as siblings, school, or organizations such as child safety. Sometimes even two parents have totally different stories, different evaluations about what the problem is and what is happening at home, and they might even have different goals for being in therapy. And children themselves have stories of their own, which can be totally different from the parents' stories. I'll give you an example. I once worked with a young, intelligent, articulate 10-year-old who stole. According to her mother, she stole from everyone. She stole from her friends, her teacher, the tuck shop at school, and she shoplifted. I have worked with many children who steal, and almost never they bring up the issue of stealing in their early sessions. The issue comes with so much negative emotions such as shame, guilt, inadequacy, that they don't want to talk about it or even think about it. This 10-year-old would come for session after session and didn't talk about stealing. One day I said to her, I talked to your mom last week, and I wonder if I can discuss with you what her concerns are." This young person said, "No, it's private information and you shouldn't share it with me." I said to her, "Well, but actually, your mom wants me to talk to you about her concerns." This young person said, "Well, actually, I don't want to hear it." So here is the dilemma. I can't just say, "You know what? You steal things and you're here so that I help you to stop stealing." I wouldn't be an ally then. I would be like everybody else, like the teacher, like parents who tells the child that you've got a really big problem and maybe that you are the problem. As therapists, we have to be cautious not to bring up sensitive issues with children too early, especially when there are negative emotions surrounding the problem. Naturally, these all depend on the child and their age, the family's unique situation, and how every member of the family presents in therapy. Nonetheless, it's important to consider that therapy with children is a delicate task, and it takes time to have the child to open up and bring their own stories. And without the child's story, therapy is often not a successful path. Thank you.